Hey everybody, it's Norm Farrar, aka the Beard Guy here, and welcome to another Lunch with Norm, the rise of the microbrands.
Lunch with Norm.
All right, today we have a returning guest, co-founder of OMG Commerce, Chris Brewer, back on the show, and Chris is going to be talking about Google Marketplace. So this isn't something a lot of people are talking about, but he's going to be talking about the possibilities and the pitfalls when dealing with the opportunity for Amazon sellers. So, hey, Faye, welcome. And let's see, where is Kelsey?
Hello.
Hello, sir. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. You are surviving the polar vortex?
Barely. I'm kind of bundled up over here. It's freezing. I don't know about anyone else in the Beard Nation. They're experiencing any of this winter weather, but yeah, it's been a little brutal. One of the heaters broke down, so
see, if you would have stayed here, if you would have stayed at the house with mom and dad, we have heated floors. You know, it would have been. I don't know.
Baby bird's gotta fly.
All right, so what do you got to say?
Okay, so if you're watching the show, if you're new to the show, head on over to the Facebook group, Lunch with Norm, Amazon, FBA, and eCommerce Collective. If you're watching from Norm's personal Facebook page, we can't actually use your comments on the screen. So if you're replying and you're not seeing your comments come up, we're not ignoring you. We don't hate you. It's just for the software that we use, we can't actually use it. But everyone else, if you're watching from the Lunch with Norm Facebook page, the group, LinkedIn, YouTube, you're all good to go. And if you've missed an episode, if you're catching the tail end of this episode, and you just want to see more of the beard, go to our YouTube channel, Norman Farrar. I'll put the links in the comments, and yeah, we'll get you all set with Lunch with Norm content. And I think that's it. I also got our Clubhouse Facebook event up. So if you're in the Facebook group, you'll see that there's an event. If you go to the event tabs, you can go there, grab the Facebook event link, and that is the link that you can use for Clubhouse.
Yeah,
it's every Monday at 1:30 p.m. Eastern time.
Right. And so far we've had a couple of sessions, both rooms went really well. There's a whole bunch of people that we don't normally get to talk to. And it also brings up the people that are past week guests that can come in and join. But anyways, just a couple of shout outs. And Kelsey, you missed out on your first thing. What was the first rule?
Smash the like button and hit the bell. Subscribe to us wherever you find the beard.
There we go.
Oh,
all right.
We
now
have a prize today too. So
okay, and we'll get to that in a second. But for first, just a few shout outs. So hey, Faye from North Carolina, Simon, Maro, Yarrow, Marina, Manny, Darwin, Stephen, how are you guys? And thanks for joining. So let's sit back, relax, grab that cup of coffee, and enjoy the show. Hello, stranger.
Hey, Norm, how are you?
Good. So you're on the other coast today.
I am on the Gulf Coast today, and I was kind of laughing at myself when you and Kelsey were on camera because, you know, Jim Gaffigan's got his humor about his white guy Norwegian heritage and his pale complexion, and I saw that I was going to get on here with my Florida tan, and you guys are in the cooler temperatures where you can't get any sun, and so there's just a nice contrast today.
Yeah, I talked to some of my friends in Hawaii the other day, and they just said, "Yeah, you look like a pasty white guy," and I got to get in the sun.
Yeah, it's we did get a cold front down here today, so it's a chilly 61 or 58 degrees, which when you're by the water, it does seem cooler. But I know everybody else is like trying to keep their pipes unfrozen and. At least if you're in the States right now, you are dealing with some harsh temperatures, to say the least.
We had a steady minus 23 for 4 days, which is, I think, minus 9 Fahrenheit. And there is a city growing every day out on the lake. Like I'm looking at all these ice huts. It's pretty cool, actually, watching all the activity form out there. But
Yeah,
anyways,
the fishing huts. I actually have a fishing anecdote today, so that is very good foreshadowing, and you didn't even know it.
well, there we go. Great minds, right? We're just connecting here.
Absolutely.
So why don't we talk a little bit about Google Marketplace and, why make the move?
Yeah, so this is I would say a trending topic for our agency where there's always been Amazon sellers that have sold on Google. There's always been Google sellers that have sold on Amazon. And there's been those that are probably many on the podcast that are just on Amazon right now, or potentially just on Google. What I think we're going to talk about today is kind of like, if you're on Amazon and maybe you made it through 2020, hallelujah, and you dealt with inventory issues, and you dealt maybe with having to switch from FBA to FBM, and now you're back to FBA, and you're seeing Amazon increasing fees. Now people can find more information about you on Amazon if they know where to look, and you're frustrated potentially. And so a lot of what I hear, because I deal with all the folks that would like to talk to us, I deal with them first. I hear a lot of, we want to expand. We don't want to be a one-trick pony. We don't want to have all our eggs in one basket. And some are more ready than others. But I think that's a good intro because, Norm, in a given week, I'm talking with 2 or 3 sellers every week. And then probably add a few Google sellers on there as well, off Amazon sellers, and for e-commerce. And so in a given year, I'm talking with hundreds of folks, and I hear a lot of what is happening, and so I get a good sense of what is coming up. And so I really do believe that there is going to be a significant amount of folks that are hedging their bets and moving into the Google Marketplace, but not all of them are going to head over there and be as prepared, right?
Okay.
So, and I just noticed I got a camera view a little lower on my screen, so occasionally you'll see me looking at you out there, looking at the live stream right direct, and occasionally
I do it all the time. So
yeah, all good.
All right, so you talked a little bit about, all right, let's, if you're kind of fed up with everything that's going on, here's another alternative. So now instead of being a one-legged stool, you can be a two-legged stool. What are some of the advantages, and how hard is it to migrate over to the Google Marketplace?
Well, I would say it's not that hard, but that's part of the danger.
Okay.
That it can be very easy. Hey, Norm, just go get a Shopify store. Just get a Shopify store, put your product listings up there, get you a smart shopping feed, and you're in business, right? Well, that's part of that little slippery slope there, is that you could possibly get some early, easy wins, but lose sight of what the true potential is. So if you can remember the early days of building your Amazon store, it took time to get those reviews, to gain momentum. And the same applies over to Google. You need a solid strategy. You need a solid game plan that kind of checks a lot more boxes than you may be thinking before diving into, firing up your Google Ads account and start driving traffic. So Google is still the top place that shoppers go when searching online for product information before making a purchase. There was I think it's Kinshu. There was a Kinshu survey that like 85% of the respondents in that survey used Google in order to do their product research, and 93% of those were mobile searches from that group. And so Amazon's certainly catching up to Google in that regard, in regards to product search. and searchers on Amazon are generally further along in the buying process, whereas Google searchers are earlier in the research phase. And so that's where you have to know the difference in the marketplaces themselves, and those nuances can be pretty big on Google. So that's just the high level on it. Now, my personal view on the space is that Amazon is demand capture. So it's this is that fishing analogy I was going to share.
Okay.
So it's like bass fishing in a farm pond. You ever been bass fishing, Norm?
I have.
Okay. So what do you usually use for your bass fishing lure?
My finger. I have no idea.
Really?
I'm not a avid fisherman. I know I've gone bass fishing with a bunch of friends, and it was fun.
Yeah.
A few times.
Well, bass fishing in a farm pond, I grew up fishing that way. And you can usually grab just a lure out of your tackle box, pretty easy, pop that on, and you can pull 20, 30 bass out in an afternoon if the conditions are right. So, and basically, Facebook's kind of akin to fly fishing for trout, but that's a topic for another time. Google is like what I've got right behind me here in the Gulf of Mexico. Google's like deep sea fishing. You need a boat. You need the right lure, or you got to go to the bait store and get live shrimp. And then as a backup, you need some squid. You need a good GPS to find the right bottom. And then once you get out there, in my boat, you may think you're on the right bottom, but then you drift a little bit and you're a little off target. And so the fishing's not that great. So we've learned to grab a plastic bucket with a weight on it. As soon as that GPS lines up, you drop that bucket right there. That weight goes right to the bottom, and then you're right on the spot. But even then, the tides need to be right, or maybe even some chum, to get things started. So what does this really mean? Well, it means that your trophy fish are on Google, not Amazon. But it also means that you need to come prepared, because a lot of people, we see this all the time here. They head out into the ocean or the Gulf. We call it the ocean, but it's the Gulf, on a kayak, little sea kayak. They don't really have what they need for serious fishing, or they come past my channel here as an incoming tide's coming in, and they get swept into the mangroves and dump all their gear because they really weren't prepared. They didn't know what waters they were heading into. And so you need the skills and the experience to know where the fish are and have the right tools to attract them. So with that as a backdrop, moving back into demand capture on Amazon, you got away with that because gluten-free or build your own. On Amazon, they've got, with those kind of searches, they've got purchase intent behind them. I'm looking for gluten-free bread, gluten-free product, looking for a build your own deck or furniture or different kinds of things. So Amazon's got purchase intent behind those queries, whereas on Google, you can't pay for those kinds of queries. You've got to find the queries that have purchase intent. And when you do find those queries, you're going to discover that everyone else in your niche is, guess what, targeting those queries as well. So that's where you've got to make sure, the right gear is going to be having a well-built Shopify site, looking at how fast the load times are on there for page load times. On Amazon, you don't have to worry about it. It's Amazon servers. But now suddenly you're on Shopify, and we've found sites that have really good potential, but they're loading in 7 or 8 seconds, which is going to kill their quality score on Google, kill a lot of the opportunity they might have for organic SEO. So that's part of one of those tools that people should be addressing early, not later in the process. And so that you can kind of start with the right things in mind, looking at how your product pages are set up, just the way you did on Amazon. I see a lot of times very robust storefronts and product listings on Amazon, and then Shopify is an afterthought. It's a headline with a few bullets. There's no reviews. So those are some of the things that you need to do, and that can kind of chum the waters for you when you have a more robust site to begin with, and you've put some work into, this is a whole nother topic, building that brand, which you really never needed, I could argue, on Amazon. So I'll stop there for a minute, Norm, but those are I could keep going with that line of thinking, because I just deal with this so many times with people coming to us wanting to launch on Google, and they're just not quite ready yet. They're going to waste a lot of money.
So a lot of Amazon sellers who've never taken a course might go and put up some crappy looking pictures, maybe one. They might put together some stupid looking buble.
Product placement. There you go.
There we go. Some stupid looking title that'll never get searched. The bullets are awful. Maybe there's only one bullet, and they think they're now selling on Amazon. So the trick is to make sure that you understand, take a course, do something to understand it, right? And once you start selling and you want to even optimize further, you might look at hiring an expert to do it. However, with Google, it's kind of this, if I understand what you're saying. So I go to Shopify, I might just take my Amazon listing, which is already, might suck, maybe not, bring it over to Shopify, and then you think you've got it covered. Where you should be looking at, when you're doing this, ways to not have a heavy page. Take a look at what Google's looking for ranking. You can easily go and find out what Google's looking for ranking and see if your page is loading on time, or if you're using optimized images, or if that must-have video in your slider bar that switches every 2 seconds, is taking too much time and you're not getting that rank. There's a whole checklist that Shopify users should be looking at if they don't know. It's like that person not understanding Amazon who's never taken a course. Shopify is a different bird as well.
Right. Absolutely. And because Amazon, I could show you 3 similar products on Amazon, and from my own shopping experience, if they're similar, I'm going to look at the reviews. If the reviews are similar, I'm going to look at the price point, and maybe I go with the middle product. But I'm not thinking about how fast is this loading. I'm not going in and typically reading a lot about the product. I mean, the thing that gets me on Amazon most often, I wish I could show this. I'm going to yell off camera for just a second. Jenny, do you know where that package I got from Amazon that had those little brushes in? It's in that little white package. If you find it, bring it to me. But you look at pictures on Amazon, you order things that you think are going to work, and you get them in, and they're 3 times the size because they didn't do a good job of really showing you how the actual size were. So it's like, I can't use this at all. Well, usually on Google Shopping, for instance, and a Shopify site, there's a lot more places that you can go to. Here we go. So I had a little GPS I mentioned that was in my boat, and I left it out there too long, and I got corroded plugs. So I needed to get some steel brushes to clean those out. Now this is a hole that's really tiny. So I was looking for these little small steel brushes. This is this is what I got in. I can't even fit it. They're huge, so I can't use these at all. But I just thought that was a fun little thing to show there. But that's absolutely right. I mean, you really have to come prepared on Google. It's got so much power, and what works well on Amazon is not always what works well on Google, because again, with Amazon, you can compare 3 products pretty quickly. On Google, you're going to make a lot faster judgments about whether I'm going to buy from a company or not based on your research journey. And so a lot of things that we're asking prospects that come and want to work with us is, would you buy from your own website? Look at it that way. And what are the competing brands? Where else can I buy this product or a similar product? And what's the buying experience there? What's the brand there? And so, your product on Amazon is connected to the Amazon brand. So I'd encourage you to develop your brand on Amazon, with tools like the brand store, for example, because that's going to help you. If you have a bigger, more recognizable brand on Amazon, it's going to help you when you move to Google. But even with those tools in place on Amazon, there's still many ways that you're still linked to Amazon. So customers are buying from Amazon, they're not buying from you. So you've heard this a lot. Hey, where did you get that? They don't say, oh, I got it from XYZ brand. They say, I got it on Amazon. So I don't know who sold me those brushes. Now, granted, there's not much brand you can do with this, but this is PMD products. So I didn't say, oh, I got this from PMD products. I got it from Amazon. That's where I got it.
Right.
And so, but how many times do they say, well, I got it on Google? They might say, I got it on the internet, but people who bought from the internet typically know exactly what brand they purchased from. So you must have a brand, you got to have a message, and you got to have a good website. Those are the main things.
And I think that might even help your Amazon store. And we'll get to an action step or, some steps we can take for Google in a second. But if you have that Amazon store and then you have a really good quality Shopify store and you have a little bit of content out there and your brand is consistent, maybe with some social media, you don't have to do a ton of it, but just make it consistent. Now you're becoming the authority. And once you become the authority, if you go over to that person's site, a lot of people are Amazon centric, right? They want to buy from Amazon no matter what, but they're going to check out your store just to make sure that it looks good. Well, they just made their decision. There's authority equals trust equals sales. So you might be beefing up your Amazon sales without even knowing it just because you have a nicer website. But you can definitely drive. There's so many avenues where you can drive external traffic over to a Shopify site and do so many other things too. There's so many things that you can do with it.
Yeah, I mean, you own the data. It's your customer information. You can build audiences. They're not hidden away on the DSP platform. You can have access to using those, and then you're growing your email list. Suddenly you have an email list and you've got that whole thing. And as you grow that email list, make a goal to get to 20,000 emails. That's kind of a good sweet spot number to then start being able to use customer match on Google, using similar audiences and things like that. So, I mean, the amount of the opportunity and the ocean wide kind of capabilities that you have, if it's done the right way, I think I can't find much of an argument unless you don't have fulfilled by merchants and 3PLs figured out to really deliver the inventory properly. That's the biggest thing is if you're going to be stuck in your garage for 3 days fulfilling orders, you may want to do that. So I know a lot of folks stick with Amazon FBA because of those reasons, but I think a lot of things we're talking about, Norm, are good arguments to figure these things out and find a good partner to help you navigate kind of these waters, so to speak.
Right. So before we get to the next step, I'm not sure if there's any questions, Kels.
So Fatiha had a question at the beginning, just kind of clarifying what you mean by Google Marketplace. How is what you're providing different from Google My Business?
Oh, that's good point. So just to clarify, Google My Business is the local listing for your business, which again, I could argue that's a great place. If you've got a physical address or even a fulfillment place, if you got a warehouse, hey, create a Google My Business account. That's going to allow people to suddenly start leaving reviews for your brand there or what the customer experience is. That's a whole nother topic on Google My Business. The Google Marketplace we're talking about in general is selling your products on places like Google Shopping, using Google ads like search ads, Google Shopping ads, display ads, Gmail ads within display, YouTube ads. So all of those, you're familiar with headline ads, sponsor brand display, sponsor brand video. Google has those components as well. It's a lot more complicated. If you're running your, in the Google marketplace, so to speak, if you're going to take your knowledge that you have on match types on Amazon and building campaigns there, your eyes are going to be very opened at the amount of levers and complexity that's going to be inside the Google ads environment, which is, again, why we're heavily evaluating whether or not an Amazon seller is the right fit for us as an agency to help them get started on Google. Those are rare. We're usually helping folks who have a little bit of traction on Google to take it to the next level. But I'm always more than happy to help folks navigate, like, where can you go to get started on Google? And one of the things that I'll mention on that is there's some courses out there. I can mention ours later if you want to. There's other good training. I like for Amazon sellers to get educated on the Google Marketplace and Google Ads specifically before they go and try to hire any agency. You need to know what is going on in there and what the different ad types are before you get over your head with an agency that isn't the right fit, and you don't know whether to how to judge that.
Would you agree that, so you're spending 15, 20, 25% of ACOS, so in Amazon for PPC, would you take the same amount and put it towards your Google marketing?
Well, one way to put that is kind of how, when we look at the Amazon DSP ads, their metric is return on ad spend, which is the inverse of ACOS. So let's say that your inverse of your ACOS is 3x. So you need a 300% return on ad spend. I'm not talking about tacos. I'm just talking about just costs. So if you need to be a 3x ROAS, that is a good place to start on Google. However, I could argue that whatever your ACOS is on Amazon is going to be far less on Google, because if you're fulfilling the delivery, you're getting 100% of the sale, minus maybe some small Google shopping fees, minus your cost of your agency or ads, which you're going to have on Amazon anyway. So I could argue that if you are at a 3x, and again, this is very general, nobody write this down and then go tell your agency you got to be at this. But
right.
If you're at a 3x ROAS, which is the inverse of whatever that relates to from an ACOS perspective, I could argue that you would probably need to take a hard look at Google to trim that down to a 2x or a 1.75, so that you have the ability to target more cold traffic, which is that ocean that is going to be out there evaluating. You're going to need more to lower the bar on return on ad spend so that you can reach people with the right message to the right audience at the right time. So that's going to take additional impressions. It's going to probably drive up the amount of clicks that you're going to have, versus sales is also going to increase costs. But that's where, if you can get that dialed in, your potential for profitability within Google Ads can be significant. Right.
And if you're ranking. So, and I think it's the same on Amazon. A lot of people like the organic listing, and if you're ranking organically and there's the sponsored ad, I mean, it's all about branding. So they're going to see the sponsored ad, they're going to see the organic listing, they might be clicking the organic listing. So even when, like, if we're talking about ACOS, I find that if you're getting a 20, 30, 40% ACOS, a lot of the times you're getting organic sales from it that you just don't associate with your ACOS. So, I mean, that might be, 2-3 times the amount of sales that you would get through your normal ACOS. And this is where you would see it in your tacos, your total ACOS. But the other thing too, it really depends on the cost of the product, the competitiveness of the product, the search volume of the product, and if it's recurring. So I've mentioned this before for Amazon PPC, but I'll give away my product. I will do it at 100%. If it takes me to acquire a company or a customer 100%, I'll do it just so they can try my product. If they like my product and they can come back, I know they're going to like my product, and then they'll come back and I've got a customer. But it's pretty risky.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I would, with all of this, Norm, I would encourage sellers. I know not all of them can have the ability to do this, but again, if you don't have the ability, this is where you can just read up on it and educate yourself. But I can't underscore more this topic about brand and content, because on Amazon you got a couple places. You've got your storefront and you've got your product listings, which product listings or a lot more old school Google SEO than what Google looks at SEO right now off Amazon. So, what makes you, or as you look to kind of integrate these things into your Shopify store and your overall brand messaging, you got to think of that content on Amazon is around your products for the most part. Content off Amazon is all about the right message to that right audience at the right time. So it's a good idea to look for someone who can help you with brand development as you work on building your off Amazon site. It's much easier to do those two things together. It's going to also help inform what kind of content you need to create, which is going to help your organic presence off Amazon. It's a lot easier if you hire for brand development at the same time you're working on dev with your Shopify site than working on branding later. That's a big piece of advice a lot of people miss. They get this great, beautiful site built out, and then they go, oh yeah, we need to go work on our brand. Well, now you're going to have to restructure a lot of things on the site.
Let me see. Before we get to the next question, I think we should tell everybody about the incredible giveaway.
Oh, sure.
So, Chris, if you want to talk a little bit about what we're going to be giving away today, that would be awesome.
Yeah. So, what I'm really proud of as the co-founder of our agency is how we help people that contact us. We know that likely 75% of the people that contact us during a given business week are not the best fits for our agency, but we take pride in the fact we take very good care of those people. So we have a link on our site called Let's Talk, which will lead you to a strategy session request. And so if you're thinking about moving into the Google Ads marketplace, or you have a Shopify site, you're getting some amount of off Amazon sales, and you're wanting to kind of take it up to the next level. If you've been running Google Ads, and I would just say that if you're running at least $5,000 worth of ad spend, which is going to give us enough data to make a good analysis on what's happening in the account, we will audit your whole Google Ads account, everything that you're running, with one of my lead strategists, Bill Cover, who's got an MBA, outstanding individual for strategy. Those audits are $1,000 value. We're actually moving to a paid model with our audits because we get so many requests for them. And so somebody on the show today, if you're one of those folks that has at least $5,000 in ad spend over the last 90 days on Google Ads, and you'd like a strategic view of what you could do with that account, we will not charge for that audit, completely free. And then I'd say for anybody else that thinks they might have that opportunity as well, just fill out a strategy session request on our site. If I've got the bandwidth for more than just one of those for free, I'll see what I can do. But if I can't, I'll make sure that I'll hop on a call with you, give you some solid value and insight from my 10 years of experience with this agency and 25 plus years of marketing experience.
All right. So it's not going to be for everybody, but if you are doing the ad spend and you want to have an audit done, then just sign up. And what are we going to say, Kels? What is the hashtag?
I think, we love Chris. Hashtag we love Chris.
Okay, there we go. I thought it was going to be I love Chris or I love fishing, one of the two. By the way, the last time I was in Florida, we went tarpon fishing, and that was a blast. That was a blast.
I've not had that opportunity, but
it's crazy. It's you've never seen anything like it.
Yeah, we've got a lake here called Lake Tarpon, and it doesn't have any tarpon in it.
There you go. And I wonder what Lake Surprise has in it. I don't know if you've heard of Lake Surprise. It's around Tampa, but probably some gators. But anyway, all right, everybody. So if you want to apply and get into that contest, just I love Chris, and we will be doing that in about 20 minutes. Okay, now I do see Simon has a question there, Kels.
Yeah, we have a couple questions.
Yep.
So Simon, I'm seeing Google merch agencies charge a % of sales rather than a monthly retainer. Do you work this way? What is a sensible and fair percentage to give an agency?
That's a great question. I would say, and there are some Amazon agencies that do the same. They kind of get a piece of the action. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And I've had people on calls because that's not our model. I mean, we have a few clients we work with who've offered to give us a percentage because of some expanded bandwidth they wanted from our whole team. But our model is a tiered % of spend with kind of a base rate to start. And one of the questions I've had, which I think is informative on your question, is, well, if you're on a % of spend model, how is your company motivated to really help me get to the next level if you guys don't have a piece of the action? And I would say, well, if you're working with a smaller agency or a freelancer, it's going to be a lot more meaningful to them because there's fewer pockets to spread that increase around. When you work with a larger agency, it's pretty typical to have a % of spend model because my team it's part of our company culture that we treat businesses like they're our own. So we have an owner mindset with our team. And I'm very proud of that we are very transparent about that with our clients. Second, our team members are bonused based on profitability. And if we're keeping clients, we're going to be profitable and they're all going to share in those rewards. And then the third thing I would just say on that is we're going to win when the clients win. I am not motivated by a portfolio of clients who are all at my minimum rates, and neither is our team. We want to be rewarded as we're able to increase spend and scale. So our fee goes up as we're able to scale the client. If we're not scaling the client, we're not going to be able to increase spend and keep a client at the same time. So that's my sense on that.
Okay, very good. Kelsey, other questions? Yep. From Faye, if we never ran Google Ads, how would you recommend we start?
I would recommend starting by, to me, the most simple way. And I would say, feel free to email me through my site if you'd like a referral for this. I don't want to mention him on the podcast because there's a potential he could get overwhelmed. But one of the easiest ways to start, if you have a Shopify site and your product feed already set up, is to set up the Shopify Google Shopping add-on. In addition to having a solid branded campaign set up, which may not spend a lot of money right out of the gate, but you need to make sure that in Google Ads, to get started from an Amazon seller perspective, all other things being equal, the easiest place is solid branded campaign structure with a Shopify smart campaign shop. And if you're not on Shopify, you can still launch a Google smart shopping campaign. It's just not as easy, not as straightforward. And if you don't want to do that work at all, I have somebody that I could connect you with. But before you get there, I would suggest, as I said earlier, educating yourself on at least Google Shopping. There's a guide on our website called The Definitive Guide to Google Shopping. It's actually what launched us into e-commerce 5+ years ago when Shopify picked that up and launched it as a resource on their site. It's been updated within the last 6 months. So that's a new guide that you could download on our site. It's like 50 pages. You could walk through that and build your own Google Shopping campaign with that guide. Or we've got a course on our site. Full disclosure, it lives on Ezra Firestone's Smart Marketer site. We make 20% of what you buy there, so it's not going to change our world if you buy this course. So I'm not plugging the course, but it is a extremely robust, it's called Google Smart Traffic. And if you've got a freelancer or somebody who is comfortable with media buying or Google Ads, you could say, go learn this course. Go set our whole Google Ads account using this course step by step. That would be another way to go. And for $900 and the time involved to get that set up, you're going to at least be able to start testing. I would also make sure that you're setting aside bare minimum $1,000 a month in Google testing budget, keeping in mind that that's going to disappear pretty quickly, potentially. And you've got to have the right amount of oversight or a solid smart shopping campaign that can just keep scaling up. And you'll hit a point in that smart shopping campaign where you know you're going to need an agency to help you, because it's going to get to a certain point and it may start to fall back off and you can't recoup it, or it may stay right about there, but you know there's so much more potential if you started adding other ad types and more of a what we call an accelerated marketing portfolio within the Google Ads marketplace to use all the available tools.
So if you had a choice, Google Ads, Facebook ads, both, other.
Yeah.
What's the best starting point?
I'll see if I can say this as quickly as possible. To me, it's a no-brainer to have a smart shopping campaign set up with branded search. You could do that if not one SKU. If you've got one SKU on Amazon and you're going to launch on Google Shopping, it's not going to light anything up. But if you've got 5 to 10 ASINs that are unique, just go to Google Shopping and type in keywords for your product, and you'll see how much competition is there. So that as a standalone, that's a good place to start. However, what we like to see as an agency is an Amazon seller that spent some time working on their brand, and they've got either a vetted out Shopify site that's converting well, or a landing page. Could be ClickFunnels. They've got a lander that's converting well from cold Facebook traffic. So if you've done some of your work on brand, because a good Facebook agency is going to ask that question. A bad or average Facebook agency is not going to ask you any questions about brand and how much volume and how much search you're doing. They're just going to start running ads for you, and you're going to be very disappointed and spend a lot of money. However, Facebook ads can be a great place to start if you've got those solid landers for your products built out. You can test your branding and your messages there, because if I get a phone call from somebody who has been able to scale up 20, 30, 50, 100,000 and spend on Facebook, and they're not running on Google, that's like, in most cases, no problem, because they've already got, just like on Amazon, what may have gotten you into Amazon if you're an off Amazon seller is you noticed how much search was popping up in the Amazon search bar for your product because people were looking for it on Amazon. If you're running Facebook ads, guess what? There's going to be overflow with people researching you on Google. And it can all work together. They may hit the Shopify site, see that you charge for shipping, and all of a sudden head over to Amazon and buy from you there. And that we won't even get into attribution talk there because that's a can of worms. But I said I was going to be brief. I wasn't that brief, but there you go.
But even that last item that you said, shipping. So that is a big item. I can go over to Amazon and I can get free shipping because I'm a Prime member. And I just my opinion, but I think it's really important that if you can, and this could be all just with an upsell, just maybe you can't make a profit on shipping an item at $10, but you can get them to buy a 3-pack, then you can send it out to them at a lower cost and it makes sense. And, then it's okay. I can compare over at Amazon. I can actually bundle something together on my Shopify page that I could never do over on Amazon and probably get people to buy the upsell, downsell, or cross-sell that I want to offer them with free shipping. So I'm glad you're on this call. I made a huge mistake starting off in Amazon. I went through a course. I had years of e-commerce experience in different things, like more corporate identity stuff. But then I got my perfect product, a bar of soap, $10. What they didn't tell me when they said a small fee in the course for Amazon, I didn't realize that small fee was going to be $4.65. And now you take the cost of goods, throw in the little bit of packaging. I was making like under $1 a bar, and I had to sell a heck of a lot. It was crazy. So my thought is, and I got around that. I did the 3-pack, 5-pack. So I got around that. But it really depends on your costs, right? Like if I could go out with that bar of soap, and I'm going on to Facebook, or I'm trying to do Google Ads, running to a page that's buying a $10 bar of soap, I might as well just get kicked between the legs right now.
Yep. Yeah, no, and that's where some of that front end research that you can do by just simply doing a Google search for your brand name, doing a Google search for your top performing keywords on Amazon, seeing the Google shopping results that come up. If you know you can't afford free shipping, and guess what? All the Google shopping results show free shipping, you're probably not going to sell much on Google shopping because people are going to buy from products that have the reviews showing up in Google shopping. They're going to buy from people that have free shipping. So you have to know what you're going to be up against. But if your product is priced lower than everybody else and you don't offer free shipping, that can be a differentiator there for sure. But that's some of the things that we're evaluating as well when people are talking to us is, there are some Amazon sellers that are selling off Amazon, but the people selling off Amazon is Wayfair, Home Depot, Bed Bath & Beyond, Walmart. And guess what, Norm? All those companies run Google shopping ads for the products that they bought from you. And now you're going to try to run Google shopping ads up against those. Guess who's going to win? The big box.
Right.
So that also, to me, is advice for those of you that may be thinking about wholesaling to big boxes, or maybe you've really scaled up. I would hold off on signing that deal with Chewy's or signing that, getting your products somewhere else where you're going to be competing against yourself. Try to grow your own brand off Amazon and through Google Shopping and the other ad types. And then you'll have a lot stronger negotiating power, I would add, too, when those companies want to sell your products.
I'm curious, and you probably have a ton of these, but do you have a case study that just came to mind where you were able to take a person selling on Amazon, take a good product and just get them incredible sales through Google?
Yeah. A couple recent ones come to mind. I'm not going to mention their
Right.
brand name because I just don't know if I could. But one is like a child play mat company. So it's like a mat you put down for your child, toddler to play on. They're colorful, wonderful. And this person was really had significant business on Amazon. But the difference that was able to accelerate, and this is true for both examples, both of these, theirs are very different, which shows you it can work for very different products. The other was a barbecue rub company. So the little bottles with the stuff in it, and you put it on your
it well
ribs or whatever. And it's past lunch. I haven't had it. I better stop talking about that. But both worked really hard to build a strong brand, and you could tell when we were evaluating their sites, when they came and said, well, we've been selling on Amazon. We're a $4 or $5, $6 million business on Amazon, but we want to launch on Google. We just have a Shopify site. We're only making maybe 10% of our sales there. But when we went there, strong brand messaging, great photography that wasn't stock photography, reviews that they had worked on from their social media channels to pull those in so that you had credibility and trustworthiness built on the site. They also had focused on CRO. So they had done some work before even spending on Google Ads for conversion rate optimization. And again, I got a great lead that's inexpensive if anyone would want that. But again, they're a startup and I don't want to overwhelm them. So message me if you want a connection there. But and it's just like usability testing where they'll give, if you've got a female demographic that's 28 to 35, they'll find those females and then they'll give them 8 tasks to do on your site. And that could be find the skin gel that's got UV protectant. Find that on the site. And then they've got to find it and they're talking through as they're searching for it on the site. View this product page. What are your impressions? What do you think about the site overall? So you're getting great actual user feedback on video while they're navigating your site. So you can find out a lot of things there. But that's what both of these had done. They'd done some amount of CRO. And so they had, this is the big one, unique positioning compared to the competition. And I love it when old marketing stuff, Norm, that's been around forever, that I can maybe say on a podcast sometime, and I'm catching someone who's a lot younger than me that's never heard it before. But like this stuff's been around forever. So USP, unique selling proposition, unique value proposition. Well, if you are an Amazon seller who maybe you've got the buy box and you've got Amazon's choice, but really if you compared your ASINs to others, there's really no differentiator other than the fact you got an early start or you were very fortunate or you had a great ads person. But on Google, that is the great equalizer. You have to have, if you can't find what is it about my company, either in my brand story. So you may sell a widget that everybody else sells. So for instance, one client, I know I can share this. Have you ever heard of the Love Is Project, Norm?
No.
Okay, so they were just on Shark Tank a few weeks ago. And they have these bracelets that just have love on them. Well, I mean, how many bracelets have you ever seen that are made out of fabric? I mean, there's millions of them on Etsy, everywhere else. It's a bracelet. But they put a story behind the bracelet, and they've got women in developing countries that don't have jobs that are hand making these. And so that's a cool brand story. They're helping women in other countries. There's a charity angle to it. So that's a unique position. The child play mat. You can Google child play mats and find a bunch, but they have a unique story about how they relate their brand to autism and helping children with autism. The barbecue rub company's got a great founder story and how he was winning all these barbecue competitions and people said, you've got to sell this stuff. So he launched it on Amazon and he killed it. So hopefully in just telling some of these anecdotal things, there's things with you that are listening that go, wow, I've got a pretty cool story. Or, but if you just got a bunch of widgets that really don't have much of a difference other than their quality, you're going to need to think about, how am I going to separate myself when I leave the Amazon marketplace? And if you can consolidate and have a solid story there, you're going to be far above those that we turn down quite a bit, which is you don't have strong differentiation. Your product is sold by other people. There's no compelling reason to buy from you now. So that's what we see from successful brands that launch off Amazon.
Very good. Okay, so just wanted to let everybody know that we've got the contest. If you do sell, or if you have ad spend over $5,000 on Google, put I love Chris, hashtag I love Chris, and you'll be entered into a contest. Now, I know that we have, yep.
I'm going to interrupt you because there are some qualifiers for this. I think we're going to put it, anyone that's entered today during the live, we're going to make a post on the Facebook group specifically about this. And so we'll get more people, hopefully a larger audience, so that we get more entrants.
Because it is more specific.
Yeah, just so we can round it out. So we'll move the wheel of Kelsey. We'll just still do it. We'll just put it as a Facebook group post today. And we can have anyone in the group entering it. So join our group, Lunch with Norm, Amazon FBA, and eCommerce Collective.
Now, are you going to interrupt me again?
No.
Okay, what is yours? Hold it. There. Push him off. All right, Chris. Well, we're at 1:00. It flew by. Is there anything else that you'd like to say before we end the podcast?
I just say, if you're considering doing this, know your numbers, know what it's going to be required. Come up with a budget that you know that you can spend and be okay, and it's not going to hurt too bad. And and keep in mind, you may have been able to launch your Amazon store and find success fairly quickly. There is that potential. What I want to make sure people know when you move to Google Ads is that the first 3 to 4 months, and a good agency will tell you this, the first 3 to 4 months is going to likely be break even or lose money. It's not unusual, and it should be expected. Google is a marathon. So prepare for about 6 months of runway of ramp up and testing and learning and improving from what the data is showing you. And then just keep in mind that a good to great agency, if you're looking for that to run your Google Ads, is going to charge anywhere from $1,500 to $2,500 a month or more. And so if that's not a good fit for you right now, there's plenty. You should think about those dollar amounts as ways to motivate you to learn on your own. I just stay away from going to Fiverr or Upwork and finding a Google Ads freelancer and putting a lot of trust and faith in them. It's a lot better to find somebody, even if you hire someone for the purpose of learning it, and so that they're on your team and they understand your brand and they're with you and they understand. So that's essentially my last advice I would give is don't acquiesce, don't turn things over too soon. And I'm more than happy to have calls with anyone. I set up a lot of little 15-minute calls with folks that just want to know where to go, because likely there's going to be many on this call. They're like, hey, I'm just not ready for an agency like Chris's. It's okay. Reach out, LinkedIn, or send me an email. I'll connect you with the right people or the right kind of training if you're not already learning everything you need to know from Norm.
Okay. And, it's funny that you just said that about the training. Kelsey and I just posted, I guess it was in Free Up, for somebody to train us. We wanted to get an expert in this one field to spend a week or spend a few hours training us each week so we get to understand it. It's a great way to do it, but I always try to get, this is just me. When I have the business coming in, I want to do other things. So I let experts do, and if it's not the agency, I'll delegate out to an expert to get the job done. I want to hire smarter than me. That's very easy to do, by the way.
Yeah.
But anyways, Chris, how do people get a hold of you?
The easiest way is just my email, and my assistant does read my emails in the morning, but she leaves the good ones in there. So Chris@omgcommerce.com, just CHRIS, Chris@omgcommerce.com. That's probably the easiest way to get me fast. I do have social media. I have a personal page as well as my the personality page or whatever. I can't remember what the other page is called. But if you look for this face and Chris Brewer on Facebook, you'll find me there. I do pay attention to Messenger, but if we're not connected, I won't see those. So email is the best.
Very good. Chris, you're awesome. Thank you for coming on. I just reached out quickly the other day and said, hey, got anything new? Of course. We could have probably had you on another 10 podcasts easy.
Hey, man, I always love coming on this podcast. You do great things, and I love what you do for your community. And one of these winners, we'll have to get one of those huts and cut a hole in the ice and see what we can bring up.
Anytime.
All right.
All right, Chris. Oh,
bye-bye.
Oh, there's one other.
Is Google Skillshare a good start to learn?
What was that?
Is Google Skillshare a good start to learn?
Yep, that's a good spot.
Okay. There we go.
Perfect.
All right, everybody. So thanks, Chris, for joining today. And let's see, Kelsey.
All right. Yes,
it's on you.
Yes. So we're going to continue the contest. I'll make a full post about it on our Facebook group, and with all the details of people that need to enter and how to do that exactly. I'll even record the Wheel of Kelsey. And yeah, thanks everyone. If you've missed the episode, if you're new to the episode and you caught the tail end of it, you can find all of the information, all of the videos on our YouTube page, Norman Farrar. Just search this in the corner here, Norman Farrar. That's where all the Lunch with Norm highlights are, all the full episodes. And we have our Clubhouse event
on Monday.
Now on our Facebook group. So you can go to the event tab on our Facebook group, and that's where all of the information is for the weekly Clubhouse.
Kelson, I'm going to interrupt you for a sec. We're going to be trying to record those Clubhouse recordings as well and have them all transcribed and put into our social media. So, one other thing. This Friday, we're going to have the other side of advertising, and that's going to be Brian Johnson from Canopy Management. He's going to be on again, and we're going to be talking about Amazon product positioning. So Brian always just drops a ton of nuggets. I'm looking forward to talking with him. And I think that's probably it for today. If you like the show, if you like the information, please smash those likes and hit that subscribe. Everything that Kelsey's supposed to say, but forgot to. I'm going to deduct his pay. Anyway, Monday, Wednesdays, Fridays, noon Eastern Standard Time. Please join us. Thanks for watching. It's awesome that you're part of our community, and enjoy the rest of your day. Lunch with